Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is all about the Christie's Missing Readathon and my TBR for that. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books, and in December I need to get through as many of those books off my shelves as I can before the end of the year, so that I can try and get my TBR down as far as it can go before I probably get Christmas presents and ruin all the hard work of the year. But there we go. So there's a couple of readathons I'm going to be participating in December, and they do overlap quite a lot. They're both about mysteries. But the first one coming up that doesn't run for the whole month, it runs for 11 days, is the Christie's Missing Readathon. And this was a readathon I really enjoyed participating in last year. And this year, they've taken it up a notch. This year there are teams. So first of all, let me tell you about this readathon. This readathon is hosted by Kevvie, Berna's Bookish Adventures, Naomi's Bookshelf, and a brand new host for this year, Rachael. And the four of them are hosting this, which runs for the same dates that Agatha Christie went missing in December 1926, so many years ago now, coming up on 100 years ago. But yes, Agatha Christie disappeared on the 3rd of December, and she was found again at a health spa in Yorkshire 11 days later. So this readathon honours that time and runs for that length of time. This year they are going to be battling it out to see which of Agatha Christie's famous detectives can solve this case and find the missing Christie. The teams are headed up by each of the four hosts, and each of the four hosts has picked a famous Christie detective. I think if you've been to my channel ever before, you will know which team I will have picked. If you've never been to my channel before, there's a huge clue sitting on this shelf just here. The detectives are as follows. Kevvie's team is going to be the Tommy and Tuppence team, Agatha Christie's famous sleuthing partnership. They met in the book The Secret Adversary. They feature in 5 different books, and they are Agatha Christie's only creations who sort of age in real time. Quite dodgy real time, but real time nonetheless. The Miss Marple team is led by Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures, and Miss Marple, of course, was the famous sleuth that Christie created, who is an old and often underestimated sleuth. Yeah, Miss Marple first appeared in a short story, and she went on to get her own book, The Murder at the Vicarage, and she's a pretty reliable old lady, although her exterior often deceives a lot of people. Naomi of Naomi's Bookshelf is hosting the team Superintendent Battle. Superintendent Battle is probably Christie's most underrated detective. He's quite a sort of solid and dependable superintendent, and he appears in some of Agatha Christie's sort of standalones. I believe he also featured in a pair of books she wrote early on, The Secret of Chimneys and A 7 Dials Mystery. And of course, the final team must be the one and only Monsieur Hercule Poirot. This team is being led by Rachael, who is a channel pretty new to me, but obviously if she's a fan of Poirot, I went over immediately to subscribe. Rachael is going to be leading Team Poirot, and of course, I have pledged my allegiance to Team Poirot because I am a huge Poirot fan. Poirot is my top Christie creations, and I hope that Team Poirot, as it would in real life of course, because he's the greatest detective in the world, would solve this case. Of course he would. So I'm joining Team Poirot. The system with the teams is you sign up to the team that you want to represent, and you will be able to earn 25 points per prompt that you complete, and 25 extra points if your book is also by Agatha Christie. So bonus points are up for grabs. So there are 6 prompts in total, one of which is a bonus prompt, but we'll get to that in a minute. I have carefully selected a book, just one book this time, pretty much, for each of these prompts, and I'm hoping to get through all of these in the 11 days. and I think it should be possible because of a couple of factors that I'll talk about in a minute. So the first prompt is to read a closed circle mystery. Now, I am always in search of the last few Agatha Christie books that I have not read. I've read all of Agatha Christie's mysteries and thrillers, so all of her main books. I have not yet read all of her books that were published under the pseudonym of Mary Westmacott, and I have not yet read all of her plays. For the closed circle mystery, in order for me to read something new by Agatha Christie this month, new to me, I am planning to read The Mousetrap. Now, The Mousetrap is in this collection, The Mousetrap and Selected Plays. These plays include And Then There Were None. And Then There Were None is actually the group read for Christie's Missing Readathon, but I'm not planning to read that because I read it either earlier this year or late last year, so I don't need to refresh my memory of that. But I could read the play in here, and I think that would count as a good closed circle mystery as well, even though I believe there is a slight difference between the play and the book. That is an option. Also in this book we have Appointment with Death and The Hollow, and I've been reading recently a book all about Poirot, written by Mark Aldridge, Poirot, the greatest detective in the world. I also have read this year Agatha Christie's autobiography, and in both of those they talked about how Christie frequently, in fact almost always, removed Poirot from the stage plays where she adapted one of her books to go on the stage. So Poirot features in Appointment with Death and The Hollow, the books, but he won't feature in these. But I want to read The Mousetrap, and if it comes to it, because we've only got 11 days, I'm going to just read The Mousetrap from this book of plays. Obviously, in order to tick this book off the giant TBR, I would need to read all the plays, so I may read some of the plays at the end of November. I may read some of the plays outside of the 11 missing days. The Mousetrap is what I'm going to use for the closed circle mystery prompt. Now that I've seen that And Then There Were None is in here in a different form, I think I may read that too as another closed circle mystery, because why not? I said I was picking one thing for each thing, but you know what I'm like. It's a TBR. It wouldn't be an Alice TBR if it wasn't crazy. Prompt number 2 is a Christie short story, which is an ideal prompt for me because this readathon overlaps with the week that Christiefest is taking place this month. In Christiefest, which is hosted by Julie from the channel Spiritual Mama and Lil from the channel Lil's Vintage World, we read one Christie a month and talk about it. This month we are actually just reading a short story, The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. Now this is a Poirot short story, so it also fits another prompt perfect. It is obviously the title adventure, The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding, that is most Christmassy, hence Christiefest is reading it in December. Prompt number 3 is a Christie featuring your detective. So I already am reading a Christie featuring my detective in the form of that short story, but I thought I would also really like to reread one of the big Poirots, especially after loving the book Poirot, the Greatest Detective in the World this month in Nonfiction November. And the one that I've chosen, I think this would also fit for the closed circle mystery, to be honest. It's one of Christie's most famous books, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and this is also a Poirot, so I'm going to probably reread this in December to fulfill the Christie featuring your detective prompt, because there isn't anything new for Poirot that I have not read yet. So yeah, it's going to be a reread for that prompt for me. Now the next prompt is a Golden Age author. And for this one, I'm going to be doing a buddy read, and the buddy read is with a lovely friend from Instagram, Jessica. Her Instagram handle, which I'll link in the description below, is Jaja Admirer of Words and Coffee, and I've done a buddy read with her earlier this year. We really enjoyed it. She also shares my love of Christie, so we are going to be reading another one of the great Golden Age authors this month, and that is going to be Dorothy L. Sayers. I really want to read off my giant TBR Strong Poison by Dorothy L. Sayers. I bought this one in the summer. It's a Lord Peter Wimsey mystery. I think I've missed out a couple in this series, but that is because I really want to meet her character Harriet Vane, who first appears in this book. I've read the first 3 Lord Peter Wimsey mysteries and they were fine. I quite liked them. I'm hoping to like this one even more. more, and I'm sure I will enjoy myself reading this with Jessica. The fifth prompt for this is a retelling of, or a book about, Christie. I've already mentioned in a previous video that I am waiting for a Libby hold of the book Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is a book that I believe retells or puts a new spin on And Then There Were None, and therefore I would really like to read it. So hopefully this audiobook might come up during the Christie's Missing time and I would listen to that. But I also have other options. And this is the first prompt that I've picked 2 options for, and that is because I really want to read both of these books. And one of them would get me the extra bonus points because it is technically by Agatha Christie. So I do want to ask the hosts if my other option is definitely allowed. We'll see. But anyway, this is the option that definitely will be allowed. This is a retelling of or about Christie, and it's The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. This came out earlier this year and my mum bought me it in this beautiful hardback with sprayed edges, and I haven't got around to it yet, even though I believe she bought it for me back in January. So I'd love to finish off the year with reading this. This is a book actually about, slightly, Agatha Christie's disappearance in 1926, because it's told from the point of view, I believe, of Agatha Christie's husband's mistress, and the fact that her husband was having an affair and had told her he was leaving her undoubtedly played a big part in, or at least was speculated about playing a big part in, her disappearance. Really looking forward to The Christie Affair, and yeah, it's something a bit different but slightly tangentially about Agatha Christie. So that will be for prompt number 5. My other option for prompt number 5, bear with me here, it was said that non-fiction was alright too. This isn't non-fiction, and that could be a book about Christie. Now, I've already read this year or last year Agatha Christie's autobiography and Agatha Christie's memoir about archaeology, so I can't read either of those, but this book was written by Christie and I haven't read it yet. And that is one of her Mary Westmacott books that she wrote under that pseudonym, Unfinished Portrait. Now, the reason why I think this might fit this prompt, and hosts, please let me know in the comments, would this be allowed? The top quote on the back of this book that makes me think it applies is from Max Mallowan, Agatha Christie's second husband, the archaeologist. And he said, "In Celia," main character in this book, "we have more nearly than anywhere else a portrait of Agatha." So this is thought to be Agatha Christie's most autobiographical fictional work. And in Unfinished Portrait, there is a character called Celia who is bereft of the 3 people she held most dear, her mother, her husband and her daughter, and she's on the verge of suicide. It's speculated that Christie may have used her experience in the run-up to her going missing. Her mother had died, her husband had cheated on her and told her he was leaving her. I think that may be heavily drawn upon when writing the character of Celia, so this is thought to be quite autobiographical. So I thought that this would be quite a good retelling of or about Christie by Agatha Christie herself. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that's cheating. I think it's perfectly alright, but we'll see. Unfinished Portrait is my final possibility for the Christie's Missing Readathon. I forgot to mention that the bonus prompt is to watch your team's adaptation. I don't know what adaptation has been chosen for Team Poirot yet, so I will let you know that in a further video. That is everything for the first readathon that I am going to be participating in December. Christie's Missing Readathon, which is running from the 3rd of December to 11 days later, so it must be the 14th of December. And I'm hoping to read all 6 of those books. In fact, I showed you at least 7, so I'm hoping to, I think 7 is doable, especially as 1 is a short story and 1 is a play, but we will see how it goes. If you haven't heard of the Christie's Missing Readathon before, do go and check out the 4 hosts announcement videos, which I will link in the description, and do come and join Team Hercule Poirot and help us solve the mystery. Looking forward to this readathon. As I've said, it will overlap with the other readathon that I intend to participate in December. If you've enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Do let me know in the comments if you are participating in the Christie's Missing Readathon, or will you be reading any mysteries in the month of December? Thanks for watching today, and I do hope that you will all join me again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.